So, now let us go and think about how AI evolved. I have already talked a little bit about Alan Turing, right. Alan Turing, you may all know. Alan Turing is the person on whose name we have instituted the Turing Award, which is equivalent to the Nobel Prize for Computer Science. And in 1950, when he started to think about the question, can machines think, he thought about how would I know when they think, and that led to figuring out his designing the Turing test in his 1950 paper. But at that time, the word AI was not coined. The word AI was coined by John McCarthy, who is at the top here. He is one of the 4 founding fathers of artificial intelligence. As this narrative had started to see whether machines can think, they wrote a Dartmouth AI project proposal, where they proposed that a 2-month 10-man study of artificial intelligence be carried out during the summer of 1956 at Dartmouth College. And their hope was that in 2 months they would figure out how to build AI. Now, you may realize this or not, but AI researchers have often been dreamers. Often, things that you see in science fiction movies, they want to make it a reality. And this has happened many times. They want to think about how the future is going to look like. They are very optimistic in life. They can do lots of things, or they believe they can do lots of things. And so, here the next 2 that you see, who are the founding fathers, Alan Newell and Herbert Simon, they were in CMU, and they were creating this program called the Logic Theorist, and there the goal was that all the theorems that Bertrand Russell has written in his Principia Mathematica, they will build a theorem prover that will prove all of them. They thought that intelligence will be exhibited by proving theorems, and they wanted to build a program that can prove all the theorems in the world. And then the last is Marvin Minsky, who was at MIT, and he is my great grandfather, academic grandfather, and he and along with the other 3 built came together and designed this project proposal, and they got together and the field of AI was born. And they had very high hopes. They were sure that within a very few years they will be able to build a chess playing program that will defeat humans and the grandmasters and so on and so forth. And there was a lot of excitement early on, right. This is a very brief and incomplete history where some early industrial robots got created and General Motors actually started using them. Eliza came about, which was like a chat bot which would talk to you and it became like your psychotherapist, and then Shaky came out, which was sort of the first electronic person which would do general purpose mobile robotics and can do lots of things for you. So, lots of things were happening, too much was happening. People were claiming that chess would be done and robots will take over the world and so on and so forth way back in the 60s. So, imagine the state of computing technology and hardware at that time, and they had these kinds of dreams. So, what was going to happen? Obviously failure, right. When you start making unreasonable claims about what you can achieve and then do not achieve it, then it leads to some kind of reduced excitement in the field. And so, in 1966 came the failure of machine translation, or not failure, but a report that said that machine translation is too hard, and slowly neural networks, which was one of the popular formalism, got abandoned because of some theoretical results, and many things started happening. And by late 60s, early 70s, we were in what is called the AI winter. This is the first AI winter. Basically, the point was that AI researchers are claiming a lot of things, but can't achieve it. Then things started improving back in late 70s, early 80s, but then again in late 80s there was a second AI winter, right. And so, what happened is that there were these hype cycles. There would be a lot of excitement about AI, a lot of funding would come in, defense will put in funding, and then at some point people will realize that, oh, the problem is too hard, not going to be possible, and the whole cycle goes down. Right, the funding reduces, people stop going to conferences. I am told that one of the top conferences had about 5,000 people one year, and next year they had only 800 something people, because suddenly all the people who were there because they thought AI can solve their problems were gone, because the AI winter had started and the bubble had burst in some sense, right. The point I want to make here is that AI is known to this, is used to this hype. These things happen all the time in the world of an AI researcher. In fact, the last time this bubble burst, the winter came, there were some researchers who are still alive. So, I will come back to that. They keep giving us a word of caution these days. Now, we are no longer living in an AI winter. Of course, right after mid 90s, the AI winter had sort of warmed up a little bit, and AI had started becoming better, but it had lasting effects. So, even in 2007, in an Economist, someone wrote that artificial intelligence is associated with systems that have all too often failed to live up to their promises. This is where, in 2007, this is when winter has already ended. Or some people, somebody wrote in Pittsburgh Business Times that some believe that word robotics actually carries a stigma that can cause hurt a company's chances at funding. And I saw this firsthand because I had completed my undergrad from IIT, and then I went to US and started working in AI. I was very excited about it. This is early 2000s, and I came back, and my professors asked me, so what do you work on? And I told them, I work in AI, and they gave me this smile. AI, okay. And this happened to me 3 or 4 times. So, at some point one of my professors asked me, so what do you do in AI? So, I told them, oh, I am using Markov decision processes and this and that, and he said, oh, so why are you saying you are doing AI? Say you are doing operations research, then it is all fine. Yeah, as long as you are doing OR, it is okay, but do not say AI. And so then I realized I was somewhat historically weak in history. So, I realized that they all got trained in AI in the 80s and early 90s, and so to them AI resembled a technology that never worked. And of course, times have changed, and we will come to that.